Today on World Now, our focus is on the lingering protest in Iran, which has entered its second week and now creating tension between the U.S. and the country. Also today, we will be discussing the humanitarian crisis caused by the war in Sudan, where 8 agencies mark 1,000 days of war. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us on World Now. I am Ekanem Ikpeme. Let's at this point turn our attention to Sudan, where 8 agencies have just marked 1,000 days of war. Nearly 3 years of continuous violence have turned Sudan into the nation with the worst humanitarian crisis globally. The United Nations says an estimated 33.7 million people will need humanitarian aid in Sudan this year, and over 20 million persons require health assistance. 21 million persons are in desperate need of food, while an estimated 13.6 million people are currently displaced. The UN says at least 4.3 million Sudanese have fled across borders, placing immense strain on neighboring countries. And since the start of the conflict in the country in April of 2023, the World Health Organization has verified 201 attacks on healthcare facilities, resulting in 1,858 deaths and 490 injuries. To discuss the situation in Sudan with me is an international relations expert and founder of the Pan-African Forum Limited, Dr. David Matsanga, who joins me from Accra, Ghana. Hello.
Thank you very much. Good evening across the globe. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. It's been 3 years of violence and counting. What is your take with regards to lasting peace in Sudan? What are the prospects of a lasting ceasefire?
Thank you very much. First of all, this is one of the worst calamities that Africa has ever witnessed in terms of conflicts across the continent since the Second World War. We have seen a senseless war. I warned the people when it started 1,000 days ago. I warned all the parties. I wrote to the Secretary General. I wrote to the African Union and I warned them. And I said, let's engage informally. This is a catastrophe. This is something that the world should not watch. And it looks like they have closed their eyes on Sudan. And the international agencies that look for all these, that sell these arms, that work with these groups, have looked the other way, and the situation continues to be as it is today. It is a catastrophe for the African people. It is a catastrophe for African Union. It's a catastrophe for the United Nations.
I can feel the pain in your voice. So how do you think humanitarian laws can be adhered to in achieving access to victims of conflicts and the protection of civilians, like the situation in Sudan?
We must, first of all, create corridors for the entry of humanitarian relief agencies must have access. There is no ceasefire so far. There is no corridor created. Nobody has concretely got a ceasefire that can bring warring parties on the same table and force them. We must create deterrent. We must now look for the generals, both of them. There is nobody to be blamed one side only, no. And anyone, America blaming one side, that's wrong. Both sides have committed crimes against the people of Sudan. Let's look for both the generals. Let's have one official and unofficial contacts with the generals. Some of us know these generals since 1994, when people were not even presidents at all, when Trump was not a president of the United States of America. We know these generals. We know where they live. We know what they do. We can go for them, live, have contacts with them. I've been saying this to the world for all the time. So time has come for us to concretely open up, have a ceasefire, open up humanitarian corridor where food can reach the people who are being killed, who are dying on a daily basis without any help from the world, as if there's no help, as if there's no food. We have plenty of these relief agencies that want to help, but there is no humanitarian corridors.
So talking about humanitarian relief agencies, how can the international community support Sudan's transition to stability and democracy?
The international community has played a game of paperwork, rhetoric. They have not come down seriously. We need to create a deterrent. We need to say, okay, both generals, wherever they are, we want you on table in Geneva. We want you on table in Cape Town. We want you on table in Washington. We want you on table in Addis Ababa. If you fail to turn up, then we now have to go for you, forcefully bring you on table. But all these organizations, IGAD has tried, but IGAD doesn't have the muscle to keep the peace. AU has tried, but it doesn't have enough resources, enough strength. The African Union itself has not even reached there physically to see what it should be done on the ground. So we must first change the strategy. The strategy has been issuing statements, taking sides. One side has been taken in Jeddah, and the other side has been taken in somewhere else. When you look at the situation, America itself is the one that has brought all this confusion in Sudan. It has come out and taken sides. It is with the people in Jeddah. It has not allowed other people in Africa. They threaten everybody. When we try to organize RSF on table so that the political wing of RSF can sit down somewhere and then be ready for peace talks, America comes in to target people, call them names, threaten them with sanctions. This should not work. That cannot work. A peace process needs a base where we can first arrange these groups. The army in Sudan, in Khartoum, that remain in Khartoum, is organized as a government. We need also to organize the RSF rebels to be organized in a political way, to go on table and tell us what are the problems. How can we resolve the two problems to get a permanent ceasefire that can allow food to reach the civilians who are dying daily in thousands and thousands, and the children that are starving?
You mentioned the African Union, and I'd like to ask, do you think that the African Union and humanitarian donors can still step in for more impactful support for Sudan through humanitarian aid?
First of all, African Union has confused itself. It has not shouted more about this war. It has left Dr. Masanga to shout more about this war. I'm an organization. I've talked and talked and talked about this war. I have even taken my own position.
You.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go on.
I have taken my own initiative to be in this peace process. When they were in the Geneva peace process, I was there. I asked and to observe, to see, to make sure that I push these sides together. So the African Union is a talking shop. It has nothing. It has no muscle. The strategy of African Union on this Sudan issue is a complex. They have nothing. They have no idea on how they will stop. None of the officials in African Union, my sister, has ever stepped in Khartoum, has ever stepped in Nyala, has ever stepped in Alifashia, has ever stepped in in Jamena. I have gone to these places in Jamena, for example, trying to push to see how we can get in contact. We want, don't isolate the threats. The threats that are being put on the generals also can create problems. The threats that are being put on countries that are helping. I want to thank the people of Kenya, the President of the Republic of Kenya, for helping to stabilize the sides, to give advice to the political wings, both of them, at least to be able to say when Kenya starts to help, then they harass Kenya. No, we should not harass countries that are helping refugees. Refugees have come to our place. Political opponents have come to countries. Let them sit down. In an peace process, you need a country which can organize these groups so that they can go back to table. America should stop threatening anybody who's trying to help the other side in Darfur and other places so that they come back to table. These are some of the things, bottlenecks, that make people withdraw from this peace process.
Dr. Matsanga, coups are plaguing Africa, the African nation. Is this not a threat to continental development?
I beg your pardon, you are saying what is that?
I said coups are plaguing Africa.
Yes.
Do you think this is a threat to continental development?
But Madam, coups come because of corruption, corrupt civilian governments. That's it. Look at the one in Guinea. Conde was banking money in Switzerland. Look at the one in Mali. The same, the guy was banking money. Niger, the man was working in Paris. These guys come in. The coups. I can't say I want to support coups, but also what democracy do you want in Africa? Where's the democracy? Which type of democracy? When you put one man, one vote, my sister, it is worse than going, it is better to go to hell than to be in a voting situation in Africa today of one man, one vote.
So are you saying that you are giving up on democracy in Africa?
Which type of democracy, I would ask? What type of democracy? For example, in Nigeria, you want 94 million people registered to vote. Only 26 million come to vote. Where did the 68 million go? Sister, my good sister, where they disappeared in Atlantic Ocean and now they have come back. So it means there is something wrong with the current situation of democracy in Africa. Africa needs to go back. As a political scientist, I want to tell African leaders and Africans, I'm a scholar of this subject. Go back like China went back. You remember China was one of the poorest countries across the globe. But China went back 40 years ago to say, where have we gone wrong? They came back. They now eat McDonald's. They now eat King Burgers. They now eat Pepsi Cola. They drink everything. So Africa needs to go back to the drawing table. Where has one man, one vote failed? Because everywhere, that type of democracy, the government, civilian governments are very corrupt. They are being thrown out, especially the prone area of West Africa, where you find the younger generation, the younger generals, captains, lieutenants coming up to say, no, you are corrupt. You are selling all uranium to France. Another problem is an external force, which is France. France has played a very, very negative role around your region up to today. They have played the spring up of Boko Haram and the other agencies, terrorist groups, is as a result of the French, because some of them, take away the resources, they don't put back the resources into the countries. France also plays a big role in making sure that conflicts in Africa erupt. So we must first of all go to the drawing table, like China did, come back and say, do we need this democracy or will not this democracy? Which type of democracy?
Dr. Matsanga, I'd like to pause you at this point. I'll come back to you after this quick break.